In this video, we're going to talk about how to file an individual tax extension. If you need a little bit more time, this video is for you. Now, some people are going to qualify automatically. We're going to go through that, but for the majority, you have to actually file in order to get that extension. So for whatever reason that you need to get a little bit more time to do your taxes, it's okay. Just go ahead and file that extension. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. But before we get into it, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name is Travis Sickle, Certified Financial Planner, helping you reach your financial goals. So the recent notice from the IRS outlines exactly who qualifies automatically. So let's just go ahead and pull it up on the screen and go through it together. So here is the notice that some filers or some people get more time to file without asking. Anyone else can request an automatic extension. Now, don't be fooled. Automatic extension still means that you have to go out and apply for it. So we're going to go through that form. But these are the ones that don't have to actually do anything to get the automatic extension. And that is the disaster victims, combat zone taxpayers, or taxpayers outside the United States. But for this video, we're going to go over for everybody else exactly what you need to do. And it's this link right down here. It's form 4868. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and open it up. I already have it here in PDF. And I will put the link in the description at the bottom so you can print out your 2020 extension and make sure that you file it because the penalties are hefty. They're heftier if you don't file this extension, and they're heftier than the late payment. The late payment penalty is smaller than failure to file. So make sure that you are filing an extension if you need more time. And if you're uncertain, you can go ahead and file the extension. And if you get your taxes done early, then you can just go ahead and submit your tax return. So this is a good idea if for any reason you think you might not meet the tax deadline. So here's the form, the 4868. It's actually pretty simple to fill out. And I highlighted a couple of important points to note. And point number one, although you aren't required to make a payment of the tax you estimate as due, it's worded a little strangely, Form 4868 doesn't extend the time to pay the taxes. So even if you get the extension, you still need to make the payment. And you can make that estimated payment with this form. And we're going to get into exactly where you should send it, with or without a payment. So let's go ahead and scroll down to the actual form. And it's really just this part. It says to detach here. This is the only piece of paper that you're going to put in the envelope and send to the IRS, along with a check if you actually owe. Now, you just want to put in your basic information down here. Put in over here, you can put January 2020 and ending December 2020. And then in part two, this is probably where you might get a little bit lost or find it a little tricky. Estimating your total tax liability for 2020. Now, if you're using tax software, if you're doing this yourself, just go ahead and get that tax software and load up your income. It's usually with the credits and the deductions that you might need a little bit more time, but you probably already know what you earned. So go ahead and put that information into your tax software so it gives you an estimate of your tax liability, or that's what we'll call your estimate for your tax liability. Now you want to estimate your total 2020 total tax liability. That's the amount that you would owe for 2020 and your 2020 payments. So if you only have a W-2 job, then that would be the payments or the amount that was withheld on your either your W-2 or your last pay stub. So if you haven't gotten your W-2 for whatever reason, you probably should already have it by now. But if you don't, if you lost it, need to request another copy, look at your last pay stub. Your federal withholdings is what you would want to estimate or put in there. And then the balance due would be the difference between those. And if you have a balance due, that is the payment that you want to make along with this form. So it doesn't extend your payment, it just extends your filing date for your tax return. So it's really important that if you do owe, that you make that payment. Now we're gonna go ahead and scroll down, and I'm gonna show you these payment penalties. So I have them both highlighted. So the late payment penalty is usually 1/2 of 1% of any tax not paid by the regular due date of your tax return. But the failure to file penalty, late filing penalties, the penalty is usually 5% of the amount due for each month or part of the month your tax or your return is late, up to a maximum, and both of those are a maximum of 25%. So that is a lot more money if you fail to file and make the payment. So failure to file, way worse than failure to pay. So make sure that you get this tax form in. So let's go ahead and scroll down to where to make this, or the check right there, I have it highlighted. Make the check out to the United States Treasury. Don't send cash. Don't send it. Just send the check. Okay, here's what's important. Here's where you want to send it. Now I highlighted it here, the difference. Depending on where you live, look for your state on the left. And then if you're making a payment and you're making a payment, I highlighted it right there. That's the address that you want to use. Otherwise, I said you're not making a payment, then you're sending it to a completely different address. Now, it is pretty straightforward, this form. So you just really if you're gonna get tripped up on anything, it's gonna be estimating what your tax liability is. Now, if you overestimate, then you could get back some of that money, obviously, in a refund if you overestimate, but you don't really want to underestimate. So be as accurate as possible, do it as quickly as you can to get this form filed and submitted to the IRS. But here's what you want to do when you go to the post office. So you want to send it certified mail, and it's this little green receipt. And you can see right here, I do this every single time. Get the receipt, take it, attach it here. You're going to get a bunch of digits right here. And those digits you can literally put into Google and it will track it for you. It's also the receipt for the IRS. So for whatever reason, the IRS does not receive it, you have your tracking right here. And this is so important. This has happened to me where the IRS lost my extension, claimed that I never sent it in. So then when I filed at the last second, like I do every single year, filing at the last second, then they said, wait a second, this is late. And they gave me a hefty penalty of right around $1,500. But luckily I had this and they got rid of it. I did a whole video on it. Go check out the channel. You can see it. But I take all of these certified mail receipts and I put them in a little bin. So every time I send the IRS anything for all the businesses, I send it individually, send it off to the IRS, and I have my certified receipt. So I know that I have a copy and proof. That is the important part. Proof that I sent it to the IRS. Now, if you're doing this through your tax software, doing it online, that's perfectly fine. I like going to the post office and sending this physically, so I have my receipt. There's no errors. There's no technology errors. No one can claim I didn't send it. This is the simple way to do it. Takes 2 seconds. Trip down to the post office, drop it in the mail, send it off. And it's a few dollars in order to get that security. So it's like $3 or $4 to send it. And the story I just told you saved me $1,500 because they thought I didn't get it. I sent it. I said, I absolutely did. Here's my certified receipt. They accepted that certified receipt and got rid of the penalty 100% because I did it on time. So it's really important. If you have any questions on that, let me know in the comments down below, but it should be pretty straightforward. But again, if you have questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.